Hey guys, I'm back. I know it's been a few days since my last post. One of the pails chewed through the wires of my generator, and since civilians aren't allowed out here by organization, I had to wait 3 days for one of the electricians to get out here. The only reason I knew it was a pail that chewed through the main cable was because I watched it do it. I was hoping it would electrocute itself, but I forgot the part that there's, only source of power from my house since the Chosen had stolen my backup. This is probably a good time to say that if you haven't read the first 2 installments of this series, you should, because I highly doubt any of this will make sense otherwise. They aren't long, and I will link them at the bottom of this post. Back to the regularly scheduled programming. I realized while I was stuck in the dark for the past 3 days reading books, hiking out of pure boredom, that I hadn't told y'all about the pale ones yet. They suck. They are kind of funny once you figure them out. I've seen them on quite a few occasions on the property. The pale ones are white humanoids that crawl on the ground on all fours, usually dragging their belly and using the same motion that Spider-Man uses to climb walls. They can move about, at a jogging pace, and their faces are usually stuck in this distortion expression of pain and anger. And boy, are they stupid as all hell. Let me tell you about the first one I saw. I'd already been living here about 7 months, I think, so I'm becoming familiar with the weird shit that calls this place home. I was hiking some of the trails, kind of halfway looking for weird shit, halfway minding my own business, and suddenly I can hear what sounds like a baseball player sliding through the leaves of the forest floor trying to reach home plate ahead of me. Only the sliding didn't stop, and it was coming straight towards me. I prepared myself by taking out my trusty Bear Grylls survival knife and entering what I would describe as an aggressive stance. Felt pretty badass, not gonna lie. Expecting some creature to come barreling out of the bushes in front of me, I was a little shocked to see a butt-naked man with pale skin dragging itself from under the brush onto its stomach. What is it with fucking naked dudes on my land? Can't I get like a pretty woman at least once? Anyways, after I got done being flabbergasted and became aware of my surroundings again, I became aware that the dude was almost on me and was reaching out for my leg. So I jumped back. On his back. And it worked like a fucking charm. This little bastard didn't even have superhuman strength like some of the other things out here. So when I landed on its back, it couldn't do anything but sit there and flop its legs and arms around like a fish. At this point, I'm on the verge of tears. It hears me laughing and tries to turn its head and spit on me, which it couldn't do, and that made me actually start crying laughing. I fell off of it at this point, and the creature quickly turned around and locked its teeth on the toe of my boot. I like to wear steel-toe boots around the property because even though they are heavy, I know that in a scuffle, being able to kick with a boot and not having to worry about breaking a toe is a nice little advantage. This is what led me to realize that even though these creatures didn't have super strength, it did have super bite force. When it first latched onto my boot, I wasn't worried and started trying to shake things off, not much urgency. I already knew it wasn't a man by this point because it didn't possess an asshole or any other genitalia. But I got a little worried when I noticed the end of my boot changing shape as the steel on the end started to bend. I then said out loud, "If you don't stop right now, I'm gonna stab you, you little shit." It paused as if debating on the decision and then slowly started biting down again while its eyes looked up at me as if trying to call my bluff. I wasn't bluffing. A few seconds later, the thing is frantically clawing its way back into the forest with my Bear Grylls survival knife, trademark, still in its back of its stupid fucking head. Nobody likes a thief. Got back home fine, but I had to replace my favorite knife and got a new pair of boots, so it was a pretty shitty hike. It was the next time that I saw one was when I figured out their biggest fear, and it's so stupid! I was down in my creek playing with my new toy I had gotten in town earlier that week. It was this net that was designed to catch little minnows and shit, and it was a blast. I didn't really have much use for minnows or whatever other little fish I was catching because I can't go on the only pond on the property that have big fish in it since I had to deal with a crocodile man. So I was just catching them and letting them go. I'm suddenly greeted by a somewhat familiar sound of a grown man sliding across the ground on their belly. It had been almost 2 months since the last incident I had with a pail, but I immediately recognized the sound. This was the dunce that had stolen my knife, and I really value that Bear Grylls survival knife, trademark, that can be purchased at your local Walmart. It really is a good product. Unfortunately, the pail that emerged this time wasn't the same one. It had a different face, and was more of a light pink than the original white that was of the first pail. It was still the same type of creature though. This time things went down different. As it tore into the clearing, it was about 30 feet away from me and it froze, with its eyes wide. As it tore through the brush, I was already facing its direction, holding the net spread out to my side the way a bullfighter holds a red cape since I was preparing to throw the net into the creek. The pail's eyes switched between looking at the net and then looking at me. So I looked at the net and then back at him. And then it clicked. No way, I giggled to myself as I started to catch on to what was happening. I took advantage of my suspicions and started running and filling the net around the pail, and it freaked the fuck out. It actually rolled over trying to run as fast as it could spin around and took off into the woods. I then started wheezing laughing as I fell to the ground with tears running down my face. This fucking thing can bite through steel, but it's terrified of a nylon net? I know that might not be funny to some because it's a twisted sense of humor, but it made my week. Long story short, I keep the little net in my hiking bag every time I go out now, and every pelt I've come across is literally mind-fucked at the sight of it. Good times, man. Wish all the things around here were that easy to deal with. On another note, I got an email from an organization asking me about the keelet that the lady in the tree claimed that I killed in the last post. They wanted to know if I had disposed of the body and if they could come and retrieve the remains from the woods if I had just left it there. They said something that caught me off guard. When I said something about having to check with a program that put me out here, they responded with, "We are the parent organization of that program," and proceeded to give me my own address and, well, all the details about my former life that only the program should have known about. In all seriousness, I have a dark past, and haven't always been a great man, but I'm done with that shit, and it pisses me off that they would even bring it up. I responded with a simple, "Fine, but don't bring that shit up again," and then blocked the emailer. No one has shown up yet, but I guess we'll see what happens. Oh, on a good note, I haven't seen Skinny in a couple of weeks, so that's nice. See y'all next time, and feel free to leave your questions in the comments, and if you have any ideas of what these pills actually are, or what a keelet is, please tell me. If any of you are good with research stuff, I would appreciate it. Talk to you all again soon.